Daniel lived in a quiet village nestled between rolling green hills and winding dirt paths. While other children spent their days playing by the river or helping in the fields, Daniel often wandered alone, lost in thought. He was endlessly curious, always asking questions, always dreaming, but when it came to proving himself, doubt held him back. One morning, excitement buzzed through the village. The annual race had been announced, a grand event where runners from all around competed for honor and pride. Whispers of past champions and heroic victories filled the air. Daniel watched from the sidelines, his heart pounding. He had always admired the racers, yet he had never imagined himself among them. Could he do it? A spark of something unfamiliar flickered inside him. Maybe, just maybe, this was his chance. Daniel's heart pounded as he stood at the edge of the training grounds, watching the other competitors prepare. His excitement flickered like a candle in the wind, threatened by the murmurs of the villagers. He's too young. His father was great, but that doesn't mean he will be. He won't last a minute. Doubt crept in, tightening around his chest. What if they were right? What if he failed? Sensing his hesitation, his father stepped forward, placing a firm hand on his shoulder. His gaze was steady, filled with something Daniel hadn't yet grasped, unwavering belief. "Belief is stronger than strength," his father said, his voice calm but resolute. Daniel swallowed hard. He wanted to believe. He wanted to fight, but fear still clung to him. Yet, as he looked into his father's eyes, something inside him shifted. Maybe, just maybe, belief could carry him where doubt could not. Taking a deep breath, he stepped forward. He would try. The whistle blew, and the racers surged forward into the dense forest, their feet pounding against the damp earth. Daniel pushed ahead, his breath steady, his heart hammering with determination. But the terrain was unforgiving. Gnarled roots jutted from the ground, and the steep hills drained his energy with every stride. One by one, the other runners overtook him. His legs ached, his lungs burned, but he clenched his teeth and pressed on. Just as he found his rhythm again, a massive fallen tree loomed across the path. A few runners hesitated before turning back, while others scrambled over or veered off into the underbrush, desperate to find another way. Daniel froze, frustration bubbling inside him. He could give up, he could turn back, but then his father's voice echoed in his mind. "Obstacles aren't walls, son, they're tests. Keep going." Taking a deep breath, Daniel wiped the sweat from his brow. He wouldn't quit, not now. With a burst of energy, he leaped onto the rough bark, scrambling up with raw determination. His fingers slipped, his legs wobbled, but he forced himself forward. One last push, and he was over. Landing hard on the other side, he barely took a second to catch his breath before sprinting ahead. The race wasn't over. Not yet. Daniel had always been smaller than the other kids. He wasn't as fast, and his arms weren't as strong. But what he lacked in physical size, he made up for with determination. Today was no different. The obstacle course stretched out before them, the course set up for the annual school race. Each kid had to face a series of physical challenges, with only one ultimate prize for the winner. The final challenge, though, had everyone staring in disbelief. A high, towering wall. It loomed in front of them like an insurmountable mountain, its smooth surface offering no footholds, no ledges to grab onto. As the stronger, faster kids approached the wall, they paused. Their faces showed hesitation and doubt. Some even started muttering, "There's no way we're getting over this." Their voices were filled with uncertainty, and the fear of failure began to creep into their minds. Daniel stood at the back of the group, quiet but focused. He watched the others falter, then took a deep breath. Despite being smaller and less powerful than his peers, he knew that his strength wasn't in his size. It was in his belief in his ability to push past limits, to overcome obstacles, even when others said it was impossible. The others started to walk away, giving up before even trying. But Daniel didn't back down. He moved forward, approaching the towering wall with confidence. His heart raced, but his mind was calm. He visualized himself climbing it. He could see the movements, every step, every shift of his weight. His belief in himself gave him the courage to begin. With all his might, Daniel grabbed onto the smooth surface, finding small crevices to grip. His arms and legs burned as he struggled, but he refused to give up. Each muscle screamed in protest, but he didn't listen. He focused only on the top of the wall, imagining his hands touching the edge, feeling the victory. The crowd of kids who had already given up watched in awe as Daniel climbed higher. Slowly but steadily, he pushed himself upward, and just when it seemed like he couldn't go any further, he found the strength he needed. With one last burst of energy, Daniel pulled himself over the top of the wall. He sat there for a moment, catching his breath, feeling the thrill of triumph. Below him, the other kids stared, wide-eyed. They had watched someone they thought was too small, too weak, do what they believed was impossible. Daniel looked down at them and smiled. "It's not about being the biggest or the strongest," he said softly. "It's about believing you can do it, no matter what." And with that, Daniel had proven something far greater than his physical strength. He had shown them the true power of belief. Daniel, the smallest child in the village, trained tirelessly for the annual race, determined to prove that heart matters more than strength. As the race began, he lagged behind the others, but his father's words echoed in his mind. "Believe in yourself." The other runners soon began to tire, and Daniel, fueled by belief and determination, surged ahead. With a burst of energy, he crossed the finish line first, shocking everyone. His father smiled proudly. "You see, son, you were never weak. You just had to believe." The villagers cheered, realizing that true strength comes from within. That's a strong and inspiring conclusion. If you want to enhance the call to action, you could directly engage the audience by encouraging them to reflect on their own challenges. Here's a possible revision. True strength lies not in muscles, but in belief. Believe in yourself, and you can overcome any challenge. Now, take a moment. What's one challenge you've been hesitant to face? Trust in yourself and take the first step today.